The combine was this past weekend, and we were able to see a lot of the top players perform and do drills. This will be my first top 10 list I've made in this channel, and I'm going to be talking about the wide receivers coming out of this draft. Like I mentioned before, there's going to be a lot of talent coming out of this class, and we were able to watch them perform at the combine this past weekend. But here's my top 10 wide receivers coming out of this draft, and I'm going to go chronological order here. So I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree with my list, but here goes nothing, I guess. At number 1, it has to be CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. I mean, there's really nothing this guy can't do. I believe he's the most pro-ready receiver, and the way he can just run his routes smooth, not a lot of wasted energy, and can just find himself open. He's one of the guys that kind of separates him along with others from the pack. But he's the most pro-ready, in my opinion, and he's going to be a starter coming off of his rookie year. CeeDee Lamb is my top receiver in this draft. Now to number 2, I have Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, and Jerry Jeudy could easily just be 1B, CeeDee Lamb 1A, Jerry Jeudy 1B. I feel like those two are the most pro-ready receivers, and they're just ready to go. Similar to CeeDee Lamb, quick in space, just another guy that you could just plug in as your starters and you'll be ready to go. He's well polished. I feel like there's not a lot of weaknesses those two carry, so that's why they're at 1A, 1B. I have CeeDee Lamb at 1, Jerry Jeudy at 2. But number 3 is where it gets interesting. This is where a lot of variances come from. My number 3 is Justin Jefferson out of LSU. Not only did he have a great performance in the combine, but if you watch that Oklahoma game amongst others, you'll realize that he can just easily be a number 1 receiver for your team. With the combination of size and speed, I already forgot what he ran at the combine. I think it was close to 4.4, but guy has some wheels on him. It's like an offensive coordinator's dream to have him. He makes those tough catches. He can go up and get it. I guess one thing I would like to see him more is like a sense of urgency out, be more quick with his routes. His routes take a long time to develop, so just making sure that sense of urgency is there. But Justin Jefferson is going to be a great football player. Now at number 4, I have T. Higgins out of Clemson. Now T. Higgins is probably here because I've watched him perform with some really good defenses going up against them, and I mean, he can be a victim of dropping some balls, but he's big, has the ability to make those tough catches on the sidelines, or just can go up and get it, snatch the ball out of the air. I expect him to be a first rounder as well. You watched him against Jeff Okudah, who's considered one of the top prospects as a DB, and so it gives you insight of T. Higgins, and also Jeff Okudah for that matter. But I feel like T. Higgins is the 4th best receiver in this draft out of Clemson. I honestly wouldn't be mad if the Niners had an opportunity at least to draft him. But at number 5, we have Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. And this guy, when you talk about him, obviously you're going to hit on the speed. Speed. The guy has wheels, and he displayed that at the combine running a 4.27, I believe. But you can't always win with speed. And that's kind of my question mark for Henry, knowing that he had Jerry Jeudy with him at Alabama. It'll be interesting to see if he goes to a team that doesn't have that same support, how would he perform? And so there's still question marks, at least for me. Speed is not one of them, but being consistent, winning in your routes, being physical when you need to, I think that is still yet to be seen, at least consistently. I think he's more equipped to go to someone who can utilize him and knows how to use him, like a Kyle Shanahan, like Sean Payton, those brilliant offensive minds who can definitely use Henry Ruggs the right way, not just throw him into a scheme and expect him to perform. I think that's going to be also beneficial for both parties. So Henry Ruggs makes my list at number 5. Now moving down, my number 6 receiver is Brandon Aiyuk from Arizona State. Talk about strong hands, catches the football with his hands. You love to see that from a receiver. Has the ability to return punts and kickoffs, and that's always a plus, knowing that he has that ability. That just speaks speaks to his playmaking skills, his ability to run with the football. You just think about it, he's sort of like a Tyreek Hill. Obviously, like a poor man Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is really good. But you just have to watch how he can get sloppy at times because of that ability. Sometimes with these young guys, they try to do too much and you end up making a mistake. So that's the only thing I have on Brandon Aiyuk. He's more of a slot player coming into the league, but we'll see. We'll see, because you can also stretch him out wide and have him run to get open. So Brandon Aiyuk from Arizona State makes my list at number 6. Now number 7, I think this is going to surprise most of you, but I loved him just watching this film. I think he has a lot of talent, and I think his ceiling could be very high. I'm talking about Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. I mean, just every now and then there's a player that rises, his stock rises when you see him at the combine and when you see more tape on him. And it could be, just because he went to a small school, he doesn't get that same recognition. But I love Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. Just a hell of an athlete. Now, the tricky thing is he goes to a small school, so he doesn't have the same level of competition as those other guys I mentioned. But needless to say, his ability to make those tough catches, stretch the field, he's tall, athletic. He's not very quick. I think he ran a 4.6, but still, he's very strong. He's going to be physical, especially when the run game is going. He's going to go down there and block. I think that whoever gets Antonio Gandy Golden is going to have an opportunity to see this guy just continue to grow. I think he's more of a raw talent. I don't think he's ready yet, but he has the ability. If you put him on that path, I think he could be very dangerous. And so I see him more as a 3rd, maybe a 4th round pick, but I decided to put him on my list because there's always a diamond in the rough somewhere. And I think this guy has not only the athletic ability, but mentally too. I think everything checks out for him. So Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty makes my list at number 7. Now we move down to number 8. We have Jalen Reagor from TCU. Initially, I thought he was going to be top 5, but after watching more and more tape on him, I've realized that the inconsistencies were showing, and they were showing quite often. He still has the ability to return punts and kickoffs. I think he's really good at that. He also has that ability to just go up, vertical jump, and get that football out of the air. Just get it at the highest point. So he's also a deep threat. Those are all things that work for him. Some things that don't work for him. He's not as good going over the middle. Saw a lot of mistakes, a lot of drops, tips for interceptions. Those are things he's going to have to clean up. He's also not as tall, fairly small considering other wide receivers on the list. So I think that drops him a little bit. And then also mentally, sometimes you can see his body language where he's either showing up, the quarterback showing up his teammates because he didn't get the ball. Little things like that you can pick up on film. But honestly, I don't put too much weight on that because I just don't know whether he's, screaming at a quarterback or, just amped up. I just don't know. But it does show on the film. And so that's just something I wanted to point out. Jalen Reagor did go down on my list, and I still think he may be a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick, but he still has a lot of work. And I think he's going to drop a little bit. His stock did drop a little bit for me at least. Now at number 9, we have Denzel Mims out of Baylor, another tall receiver. Now with him, the only difference is he's tall and very fast. I think he ran a 4.39, if I'm not mistaken. He definitely ran a 4.4. 4.39. What I love about Denzel Mims is his ability to be physical in the run game. Just run block. He is going to lay you out until he pancakes you. That's the type of blocker he is. And I can appreciate that because if you're not helping in one end, you're definitely going to help on the other end, and scouts are all over that. Now his route running ability isn't as fluid as obviously the top guys on this list, but what's really going to help him is his energy and his consistency at other things. He can go up and get it, high points the ball. There's a lot of things he needs to clean up though, like holding the football. Sometimes he holds it too loosely, where DBs can just knock that out. Also drops. drops over the middle. That's going to be a killer for teams. So as a receiver, he's not polished when running routes. Though he's quick, he can blow the top off the defense. Can he do the other things in order to be successful in the NFL? Right now, like I said, he has the run blocking ability down, but he's going to need to make plays, pick up first downs for teams. And so he's more so a project for a team. I see him more so like a third round pick, but more so like a project for a team. Now, speaking of projects, this next guy is sort of a project, and he's a big name. That was at the combine. Laviska Shenault Jr. out of Colorado makes my last pick. He makes the top 10, but there's so many question marks that it can be good or it can be just the worst pick. That's honestly how it goes. Laviska Shenault is big body receiver. Kind of reminds you of Sammy Watkins. He has the speed. He shows it on tape, though he was injured at the combine. So don't really put too much stock on the 40 time he ran this past weekend. But there's a couple problems for me that come up on film. He's like the opposite of Denzel Mims, where he needs to do a better job at run block. He needs to be physical. He needs to make sure he's up on somebody and making a block. Sometimes he gets too lazy and just watches the play develop in front of him. Coaches are going to call you out on that. And especially now where, the run game is back in the NFL with the Ravens, the Niners, they're going to want guys that go out there and just block somebody, loves the game, regardless if it's a pass or a run. They want to see you give 100%. And so that's one thing that isn't going too well for Laviska Shenault, but it could all be cleaned up. I also feel that he needs to do a better job at fighting for the football. On those 50-50 balls, he needs to just be the bully. Get up there. He has the body. He has the size. He just needs to get up there and snatch that football. And I don't think that he does that very well, and DBs kind of take advantage. Can he be reliable with catching the football? I'm not sure. So don't expect a lot of screens to come his way. Just little things like that can affect your game. This is why he's a project, because if he can develop all those things, then he has the athletic ability to just run those numbers. But it's not until he shows development and he shows that he can even be durable, because now he's, he was hurt. Now he has to have surgery. I think he's been hurt in college a few times, so durability is also a question mark. So this is going to be a risky pick for a team. I see a third round pick, maybe even a fourth round pick for Laviska Shenault. But yeah, that's just how I feel, and that's just my list. 1 through 10. We've covered the list. Those are my top 10 receivers in this draft. Of course, I can be totally wrong, or I could probably be right about Antonio or Denzel Mims. But anyways, guys, as always, let me hear from you. What is your top 10 wide receiver list? Go ahead and drop your comment below. From a 49er standpoint, who do you see them picking up at wide receiver? If they even draft a wide receiver, who would you like to have on your team? As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.